I have a new project to do today, so let's go have a look at it. Got to put on the jacket, or my lab coat, I guess it really is, with the short sleeves. Make sure I don't get my sleeves caught here on the blade of this table saw, because I will be using this table saw today. And the project that I'm going to be doing is basically I'm going to salvage a railing. Here it is. As you can see, this was a handrail, and the spindles here have been removed. They've been cut off, and my task is to cut these off such that it is flush and salvage this handrail. Well, we got a few things here going on. Let's have a closer look. First thing I need to worry about before putting this on my table saw is nails or screws. I didn't find any nails or screws or anything metallic holding the spindles together to the rail. Here it is. I'm looking at it and I see this one rail right here, this one spindle is actually, well, it's raised. It wasn't completely flush when it was installed. See if I can bring it in and show you. So I'm going to try and cut this one right here, cut it off, and have a closer look at the construction before I send this through my table saw. Now I've set up my Workmate 300 over here. I'm going to reset this and bring you back in a moment to see how I'm going to cut it. What I have done is I put some masking tape here such that I don't nick the actual wood itself on both sides. You can see the large gap. I'm going to try and get a saw in there and slice off that piece and have a look at the actual construction. I'm getting ready to set up the table saw. Here is the railing that I'm talking about. So the idea is to cut off all of these spindles just a little bit shy, about a quarter of an inch above the railing itself. And then I'll do the rest, I'll cut off the rest by hand. Before I do this setup here, we have to consider safety. That table saw with this cutting blade is going to travel at thousands of RPMs, and I don't want to nick the actual railing itself. I also don't want to damage me. So I'm going to have to look at this slowly and see how I can do this safely and properly. Looking at the rail itself, I go down and look at the rail, I can see that it is bowed. It has a slight curvature to it. Yet my fence is completely straight. So I'm going to have to be doing this, well, slowly, and I'll need to cut one at a time. Obviously, I'm going to do all of those little cuts off camera, mostly because, well, the camera is in the way. I've reset, put it here on my Workmate, and I've cut this piece here by hand. And now let's see if I were to, this is actually oak, and oak is very brittle. And the grains are going, well, this way. And in that direction, if I pull along that direction, these grains here, they'll just pop off easily. So if I were to put a little bit of pressure on this, as you can see, oak is very brittle. It's strong lengthwise, but not so strong here when you actually cut it small. Yeah. So the idea is correct. If I take these little pieces, go underneath it, and then just pop them up, I can expose the actual dowel portion itself. I'll have to put some protection here so I don't damage the actual railing itself. But that's the idea. Here it is. I've done chiseling away the little bit of squares. All that's left now is basically the round dowel. all the way across and out to the other end. I think at this point I'm gonna sit down, have a coffee, and ponder how I'm going to make this flush. I took a moment, I considered my options, and I decided to let me try the drill press. On the drill press I have one Forstner bit, and this is it. It's a 3/8 bit, and as you can see it's flat. The intent is if I put the Forstner bit here and just drill down just before it hits the wood itself, a little bit higher than the wood, stay a little proud, I might be able to get these here, well, to a point where we can do some sanding. But before I do that, well, I have to adjust this table. It's not level. Yeah, I got to adjust that. You have to adjust the height. All of that is done manually, as I explained in a prior video. Well, off I go. Well, I moved around the drill press, clamped down the workpiece, made sure everything is level and square. All that's left to do now is to try this little test run. Well, here we go. Oh, you know, that's pretty good. All that's left to do now is, well, reset and repeat. All the drilling has been done. All the spindles have been removed. As you can see here, they're all complete now. The Forstner bit did a good job in bringing everything down, but they're slightly a little bit proud. I left them a little high is what I did. And this is to allow for sanding, final sanding, so I can bring this flush wood to the wood itself. I may have to do some repairs in some of these areas, as you can see. Otherwise, yep, things are just moving right along. Here it is, the final product. I sanded everything here down to almost flush. This project is actually for one of my children. I don't know exactly what they have in mind for it, so I think I'll just stop here.